Hello, this is Sonia here with The Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy to have you here. So today is Wednesday, and that means it's the stitch of the week. So for today's stitch, I am going to be using an eye hook or a 5.5mm hook. And I have number 4 yarn or worsted weight, and I believe this might be Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn worsted weight, but I'm not 100% sure. So today's stitch, we are going to be doing a basic cable stitch. So if you've never done crocheted cables before, this would be a really good cable stitch pattern to start with. And I just want to apologize ahead of time if my hands or nails look a little crusty. I've been doing some yard work, and I don't really like wearing nail polish too much because it just chips, and that annoys me. So I like the way it looks, but it just doesn't last for me, and I do too much with my hands to try to maintain a manicure. So if it really bothers you, then just pass them by. So as I said before, we're going to be doing a crocheted cable, a basic crocheted cable, and it's going to be a 4-stitch cable. So for our swatch today, we are going to chain 10. Alright, so we have 10 chains. So for our first stitch, we're going to just have 2 double crochets on each end of our cable stitch pattern here. So I am going to double crochet in the 4th chain from my hook. 1, 2, 3, 4. My skipped 3 chains will count as a double crochet. So now we have 2 double crochets on the end here. So I'm just going to continue. This is going to be our setup row. So I'm going to continue double crocheting all the way across for row 1. So at the end of row 1, you will have a total of 8 double crochet. And you can work in the chain however you wish. I didn't state that. It's fine for this little swatch here. So I finished up row 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we have 8 stitches across, 8 double crochet. So let's begin row 2. So we're going to chain 3, and we're going to turn our work. So this is going to count as a stitch here, and we're going to double crochet in the next stitch. So we're going to have 2 double crochets on the ends. Alright, so now we're going to start the cabling section. So the next, I said as before, it's going to be a 4-stitch cable. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's going to be part of the cables. And this is a very basic crocheted cable. So we are going to yarn over, because we're going to work some post stitches. So if you've never done front post double crochet, I think I have a video on that, so I can link that for you either in the eye or below. I'll probably have it in both. Alright, so we're going to skip 2 stitches. So we're going to skip this guy, and we're going to skip this guy. We're going to work a front post double crochet around the next. So when you're working front post, you're working around the stitch, and it's going to cause it to puff out. So I'm just working front post, so I'm wrapping my hook around the stitch, and we're just going to work a double crochet. So there's our front post double crochet, our first one, and we're going to work front post double crochet around the next one. Okay, so we have our 2 front post double crochet stitches. So now we need to go back and work in the 2 that we skipped. And then this is where the cable is going to start to kind of pop out a little bit. So we're going to yarn over, and we are going to go back to this first skipped stitch, and we're going to work front post double crochet. So it's just a little bit of hook gymnastics, but not too much. So we're just going to wrap our hook around that first one and work the front post double crochet. So we're almost done, and now we're going to work front post double crochet around this guy here. Now there's all different types of cables that you can make. You can also do this using triple crochet, front post triple crochet, and a lot of crochet cables do use triple crochet, but we're just going to do it with double crochet. As I said before, this is a really basic one, so you can get by with it using front post double crochet. Alright, so we're just going to continue on our row and work a double crochet in our last 2 stitches. So here's one here. And when you first start doing cables, it might look a little like kind of ugly, or you know, it's not looking like much. But don't panic, it'll start to kind of smooth itself out as you go along in the pattern. And then I'm just working on top of my chain 3, working a double crochet. So we still have the same amount of stitches, we still have 8. We just have crossed some over and started our cable section here. Now if you have trouble counting your stitches, because that can be tricky when they start crossing over, a nice little trick is you just turn it this way, then you can see all the tops of these stitches. So you can start here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then this chain 3 counts as 8. So if you're confused, just turn it so that you're looking at the top, and then you can see all the tops of your stitches so that you can count them. Alright, so let's start row 3. So we're going to chain 3 and turn our work. And we are going to double crochet in the next stitch here, as we're just having the 2 double crochets on each of the end. Alright, so what we're going to do here is, I want this to be a nice, just gentle looking, kind of like an S cable. So this is our back side, and we are going to work back post double crochet. So obviously this is not the wrong side. We're going to want it to puff out on this side. So we are not going to do any cabling. We're just going to work back post double crochet all the way across. So, and more hook gymnastics. So you can be a little aggressive with these stitches. You don't have to worry. Cabling with crochet is pretty sturdy, so you know you can just yank those stitches to get them where you need them. So I have my yarn over, and I'm going to do a back post. So again, if you've never done back post double crochet, and it's right in this first stitch, I will try to link some of those videos so that you can check those out. So there's our first back post, and again, we are not crossing over, we're not skipping, we're just working across. So we're going to back post in these 4 stitches. So that's stitch 1, and we're going to back post again. So again, you're just wrapping that stitch around to puff it out, working around the post. And so here we're going to work 2 more. So you can see I'm just kind of spreading that out. Here's my stitch that I want to work in, and working the back post. Oops, we got caught on something. Come on. Back post double crochet or triple crochet is not my favorite, but it has its place. I do use it sometimes. Alright, so we're going to work our final back post. And some cabling you can avoid the back post stitches, especially if you're working in the round, it's just really kind of nice. Alright, so I'm going to just double crochet my last 2. Again, keeping the same stitch count. We're not adding any stitches, we're not subtracting any, so we have 8 stitches. And just working in that chain 3, which I made a wee bit tight, but just work that hook in there however you can. Alright, so here is row 3. Again, it's not looking too cute, but it is the back. So we're going to chain 3, turn our work. Alright, so you can see how she's puffed out a little bit. Alright, so now we are going to repeat row 2. So I'm going to double crochet right in there. And now I'm going to skip my next 2 stitches. So I'm going to skip this guy, I'm going to skip that guy, and we're going to work our front post double crochet. So you can see working the back post, it puffs it out. So front post double crochet in that one, and we're going to work front post in the next one. And we're going to go back and work our post stitches in the ones we skipped. So we need to work front post double crochet right here. And front post, so you can see I'm just kind of pushing that out with my thumbs there so I can find it easily and work front post double crochet. So this is definitely not delicate. All right, and then we're just going to go back and work our 2 double crochets on the end here. And then just working on top of that chain 3 to finish up row 4. So you can kind of see the cable starting to emerge there. And so now let's work row 5. So you're going to be repeating rows 2 and 3 for however long you want your swatch. And then as you get a couple rows in, then you really start to see the cable start to pop out. And as I said, this is just a very simple crocheted cable, nothing too complicated. And it's just a nice way to kind of get your feet wet with cabling and see if you like it. It took me years to learn cabling for some reason, and I just had trouble, but you know, practice makes perfect. Okay, so now we have to work our back post, and we're just working across. We are not crossing over, skipping any stitches, so we're just going to work our 4 back posts double crochet, and as I said, I'm just kind of finding them with my fingers. Come on. Yeah, this stitch can be a little bit fiddly, but as I said before, once you get going in the pattern, you kind of get your groove. It's not too bad. And now we're at our final 2 stitches. We're just going to work double crochet in our last 2 stitches, keeping the same stitch count of 8 stitches. And then we'll chain 3 and turn, and we'll be ready for row 6. All right, so now you can kind of see the cable starting. So I'm going to work a couple more rows. We're going to repeat rows 2 and 3. So 2 is the actual cabling where you're skipping stitches, and then 3 you just work your back posts, the 4 stitches across. So I'm going to keep going, and I will meet you back after a few rows so you can see, you know, the cables start to pop out a little bit better. All right, I'll meet you back, and again, just repeat rows 2 and 3. All right, so I have worked up to 12 rows, and I did end on an even row. So I just think, personally, I just think it looks best when you end your cabling on the actual cable row. So this will be the right side. So this is row 12. So here's my swatch here. And it does get a little wonky, so it does benefit from a little bit of block, or, you know, stretch it out. But cables, I think, are really fun. You can create a lot of really neat projects. You can use them in a variety of projects. They look cute in hats, blankets, you know, if you want to make sweaters. There's all different things that you could do with your crochet using even just this basic crochet cable. So I hope you enjoyed this Stitch of the Week, and I thank you so much for watching.